Good evening, good evening, good evening. You walk in the front door and your wife says, "Hey, you should have heard what your son said today. I think it's time you have that talk with him." And you say, "Honey, I need about an hour to sit
Uh-oh.
back, relax, and then be enlightened with my two best buddies, two average Joes. From Lake Havasu, Arizona, Tony P., and from Long Beach, California, Joe Kelly. And without further ado, two average Joes.
Josh,
Hey, good evening,
you got
sir.
the red shirt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing
So
well, man.
I have a plan for us.
I have
And
a, I have a suggestion too, so it's going to be an interesting show.
well, mine is I've talked to a couple of our listeners, and it very possibly could be the only two listeners, but I've talked to a couple, and the unanimous comment in regard to pros and cons is they're like everybody likes the question part, when we question each other at the end. And so I thought about it, like, well, we should just do a whole show like that, we'll title it Q of A, or a House of Cards or something. But
Well,
anyway,
there's
that seems
something.
to be everybody's point.
All right. Well, here's what we can do. We can combine things because it's a lot of good information. So those questions are great. It creates questions for people and answers that they may have. And I have
Right.
something I want to introduce called "I Bet You Didn't Know."
Okay.
So
Well, I tell you what, you got me so far. I didn't know.
okay, I took down some facts that are like, I bet you didn't know that. Here's one. I bet you didn't know that some cats are allergic to people. Who would
Really?
have thought? Who would have thought? So that was just one of my ideas. Just I want to like interject maybe, a dozen or so of these two other things, just kind of throw it one here and there. So, it's some fun
Right.
filler and people like that little extra bit of information. So, hey, I've actually picked out four questions today. So it's kind of funny that you said that. So I'm
So
ready
your
for
your 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 chamber is loaded.
I'm ready. It seemed to me that people like the content when they get something to think about, not just what you and I think
Yeah.
about, because who cares what we
Ha-
think about, you know?
Have you talked to people? I mean, do some of your family or anybody listen? I know I don't even really know who listens. I know a couple people have because they've mentioned it and they mentioned those points, but I don't solicit it. Like I don't want to pin anyone down. Like, "Hey, man, you're listening to the podcast." So I just let it. Whatever happens, happens.
Well,
But have anybody
Andy
volunteered anything to you?
Andy Smith said that we had good chemistry together.
I just have been very fond of you.
Well, it's like I wouldn't date you, but I kind of feel the same way, brother.
But we mentioned it before. I mean, we have been accused of being brothers.
Hey, and if I were going to be gay, we'd probably go after the same guy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that would be unfortunate because I know you can kick my ass. So,
Well, I think it's more of let's just wow them. So, all righty.
uh,
Now, let me see. What is there anything going on in the world that we should talk about? I mean,
well,
The Dodgers got beat two
I
out of three by the Braves, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
yeah, well, I mean, we got a lot going on, right? You got hockey playoffs, you got basketball playoffs, you got
Pistons are
baseball
doing well.
firing up.
Congratulations on your
Tigers are doing
Pistons.
okay.
Tigers doing
Braves, right?
okay. Braves are they're on the top of the rankings of everything now. Everything.
It would be great if the Pistons won tonight. It may have already started, and
I think it's
they would
five.
go back home 3-1, up 3-1, which is a great place to be. I called the series Pistons in six before it started, so I knew I was lose one at home. When at the Cavs rather, and they did when they left two up. I just said, "Oh, just split the two in Cleveland and we're good, right?" So that we need that win tonight. I do have something I wanted to mention, and I know I've beat this horse so dead, and it seems like we talk about it every show, but there's always a different angle. So the first time it was about the Reacher actor, right, and using his staunch abilities against someone smaller. And then I think last week we talked about the person that was intoxicated and did the wrong thing, and the guy just laid him out. He was not only physically much greater, but he wasn't also shit faced. The other guy couldn't stand up before he was hit.
Right.
So the new one now, here's a twist. Is it, and if so, if not, or at what point, if you're struck first by a woman, does that allow you the opportunity to strike that woman? And then the only thing I want to add to that, because I think the automatic answer at first is no. I mean, you take one blow, but I want to pose the whole scenario. What if you're getting your ass kicked, right? And it's almost like to the point where you're fearing for your life. I mean, there's some big girls out there, right? Or maybe they're younger, and who knows? Maybe they
Or
know kickboxing.
or
Maybe they
Ronda
know
Rousey.
kickboxing.
Ronda Rousey kicked
So,
my butt. So
so at what point, and if there is a point, would it be considered, hey, you know what, that was acceptable? they had that coming.
See, that's a tough one for me because I mean, I come from the South, and they
Right.
you're gonna act like a man, you're gonna get hit like a man. That's all there is to it. You know, don't be pulling that crap around me. I mean, that's the way it works. You know, it's like a man doesn't hit his wife because he knows he has to sleep sometime. She's
Right.
like, go ahead and go to sleep, dumbass. Go ahead and go to sleep. But as far
Right.
as I don't think that I think a Southern man would let himself get struck in the face and just spit the blood back at her or something, just like, yeah, that was your shot. That's all you get. I mean, I'm a firm believer that people say, well, a woman wants to be your equal. It's like, even was it one of the Serena Williams said, hey, I can't beat the 400 ranked college player, let alone anybody in the professional ranks. I can't do it. They're just too fast for me. It's a different level of play. I've actually, when I was playing
And
tennis in school, I thought I was pretty good in high school. And we had a tennis class. And one of the guys in there, his name was Greg Davis, and he was all DVAL, just, going on to do professional things probably or something. I couldn't return one of his serves. When you have something that's that caliber, forget it. It's like trying to hit a 120-mile-an-hour fastball. You can, unless you're swinging right when it comes off his fingers, you're going to miss it anyway. It's
right.
so.
Right.
I just
No,
think.
yeah, and I don't think it's an insult to say that, in respect to sports or something like that. That, I mean, because there is just physical differences. And
Yeah,
it's not across the board, right? I'm sure there's 10-20% of women that are staunch enough or physically capable to work out, whatever. But it's not the norm. It's not the
right.
norm. If a guy did anything, especially physical with a woman, the advantage is just automatically there, naturally, even if everything else was even Steven.
Well, it's like, and I won't say who it was, but it was years ago when I was in my 20s, and I got attacked at the front door, just barrel of punches from this woman. And I just like, when I realized what was happening, I just reached up and gave her a quick slap in the face. And she said, I can't believe you hit me. I said, no, if I hit you, you wouldn't get up. I just wanted to get you off of me. Whatever your problem is, I don't need this blood. I don't need a broken lip. I don't need a broken nose. I don't need this. I don't know what your problem is. So it was more just a whoosh, back into reality of the thing is that I'm the one that goes out of the cave and
Yeah.
kills the animals. Okay. You cook them.
And that is a good point because that point in itself ties into what we talked about the last two times with the different characters. But the point is that just because you have the ability doesn't mean you have to use the ability. So you can still, you don't have to go full throttle right off the bat. You can use a little discretion, try to send a flare out, right? Hey, let's not escalate this.
Right.
Good. Awesome.
Well,
Well,
I got to share one scenario with you happen. I want to see what would you do in this
hope so.
situation. I was in a very bad mood the other day, and I was stupidly behind the wheel of my car, which is not a good place for someone who's got anger issues. And I've worked on them
in LA.
in LA. Okay, so I'm coming. I crossed Los Coyotes Diagonal going up Carson, and coming off Los Coyotes, I could see in my peripheral that the smoked black SUV was turning into the lane that merges into it. I don't care. And I'm going straight ahead. And there's like three cars ahead of me. And this guy thinks he's going to haul out and go in front of everybody to get in front of me and the two other people. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. You don't get to do that. And I wasn't even looking at him. I just kept speeding up. And I wasn't going to let him in. I wasn't trying to run him off the road. I just like, no.
Right.
You're going to hit me because I'm on the road and you're not. So
Right.
at the very end, we get to the very top. He comes up behind me and turns on his lights.
Oh, nice.
Turns on his lights, and I was so pissed. I said, "Oh, okay, let's see what you're going to do here." And so I pulled down into the Walmart parking lot, and he didn't pull up next to me. He was like 4 car lengths away from me, and he rolls down his
Right.
window, and it's a 25, 26-year-old kid, sheriff. He's like, "Hey, you should have let me merge in." I said, no, son. It doesn't work that way. I said, I took this course and passed it before you were itching your daddy's pants. You're merging into my lane. That means you have got to yield to me, not vice versa. Well, you could let me through. I said, let me ask you something. Were you in a hurry? Was it an emergency? Right. No. Then who cares? Are you pissed? You want to get donuts because they're made fresh? No, it doesn't work with me. You don't get to just go ahead and use. I said, that's called positional management. And you don't get to use your position.
But in all fairness, there is a definite difference when that donut is fresh.
I understand that. But the minute I said, what in the world are you pulling me over for? I could see in his eyes like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. This is going wrong. And he says, well, I'm just going to let you go. I said, no, let me go for what? Come on, you got your body cam on. Arrest me. Give me a ticket. I want to see you argue this one in court. And so he goes, look, I said, can I go? He goes, yeah. And I just drove, went parked and went into Walmart. And my wife's like, Kelly, you get a little too aggressive here. And it's like, well, I'm a man of principle. And it's like, look, you don't get to use your position to take advantage of a
Right.
line of people because you're a young sheriff who thinks, I'm going to let you off. You're not letting me off. Don't let me off. I got more time than common sense. Go ahead and do something.
Was it even a marked vehicle, or was he just in his vehicle but in uniform,
It was a black SUV, black
unmarked?
SUV, unmarked. And the only reason I knew is because when he turned it on, the red and blue flashed above. And when he was in front of me, when he went
Oh,
in,
he turned on those lights. I thought you said, I thought he turned on like his headlights.
no, he turned on
Oh,
his
you
red
were
and
getting pulled
blues.
over.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, we'll
Lit
see what
you
you do
up.
with this.
Okay,
You
got it.
don't intimidate me, man. I got more
Right,
common sense and time. You can take me to jail if you want to. I've done nothing wrong, and you're going to lose this battle. So he
right.
just realized immediately when I said, "What? What are you pulling me over for?" He realized, I shouldn't have done that. He's like, he probably
Yeah,
just a brand new
right.
sheriff. Hey, I'm going to pull someone over and say, "Look, I'm going to let you go with a warning." I said, "Warning with what? What did I do that was wrong?"
Well, I do the same thing because I hate it when, traffic's merging, they got the construction, it's duly noted. And I'm not talking right after the signs posted. I'm talking they wait until the merge only holds like two cars and they fly up the whole side and they want to get in.
Yeah,
It's like, fuck you. And it pisses me off because it's inevitable someone lets them in. And I'm
yeah.
like, can't we all just get together on this? Can we put all our differences aside and just agree he or she or whoever is an asshole, and we're not going to let them in until it would have been their turn?
Well, see,
Everyone's always really nice about it.
someone gave me a hard
Not me.
time years ago, and I said, you know what? I said, I want you to imagine those freeway shootings. They aren't random. It's some dumbass who's trying to take advantage of everybody else, and someone shoots him, and you can hear applause on the freeway as this guy is out of commission. I said, I'm
Right.
sorry, because there are a lot of people that they just take up oxygen space as far as I'm concerned. It's like
Right.
you want everything for yourself. You don't care about anybody else. As long as you're taken care of, screw everybody else. And I just don't like that. I'm the first person to give up my position for someone else, to let people go in front of me, all those things. But if you're going to be a jerk,
Right.
it's like I can be a bigger jerk. I'm good at being a jerk. So
Yeah, yeah. Like I have no problem, even letting like a person in as the second car in front of me in a manner where they're not acting aggressive. I mean, you can tell when someone's trying to aggressively get over, and when someone's just like, "Oh shit, I'm running out of," you know what I mean?
yeah.
There's a different style to the driving.
Right. My biggest pet peeve is that everybody's looking at their phones now. And so they're literally a car length away from the next car at a stoplight because they don't want to hit it. But you don't realize that everybody's doing that who's looking at their phone. So you have less cars that are able to make turns. And that pisses me
Right.
off. It's like singular minded. Why don't you put your phone down and text? Like Georgia, you can't have your phone in your hand. You'll get a ticket immediately. If they see your phone in your hand, you're ticketed. They do not let you have a car,
Yeah.
the
No.
phone.
Well, isn't that's not California law?
They started to do that, but no one's ever enforced it. No one's
Yeah,
ever
but there's too
enforced
many
that.
people on the road. They did make it a law here a couple years ago, and yeah, it has to be completely hands free. But
Yeah, well, it doesn't work out too effectively. It's I think people are just saying, please get us to driverless cars so we can just do whatever we want to. It'd be like you're taking a bus or taking a train or something.
bonds,
Bonds.
bond 007.
All righty. Hit me with number two.
What's your Oh, number two. Oh, you're picking a number. Okay, I'll oblige. Have you experienced a situation where setting clear expectations improved a relationship? Have you experienced a situation where setting clear expectations improved a relationship? And by relationship, the romantic, employee, family, anything.
Well, yeah, I think that I do all the time, and it's like most recently, a bunch of people who were scared to implement a women's tea and all the food and everything. And so I went down Friday and said, everything's cooked, right? Everything's ready to go, right? Except the quiches are coming tomorrow. Okay, we need to get here about an hour ahead of time because they got to cool some by the time they get here. And so it's like I sat down with people and said, here's the thing. Don't worry about the number of plates we have. We have 120 plates. Here's the example plate. We're just going to make every plate look like that one. So there's seven of us here, and there's seven items. You take fruit, you take quiche, you take, the scones, you take whatever, and then we're going to just take those and you put one on every plate. And so it's like by implementing this system, and they're like, oh, that was just so easy. I can't believe that. So I created
Right.
expectations, and then I mean, it's funny, Tony, because you and I do that in our sleep, and it's not brain surgery to us. People who aren't in the restaurant business are going, I would have never thought of that. I would have done one table at a time. That's why you'd be serving for 2.5 hours. So it's
Right.
like people don't get that. And even with my wife's kids, when they came to live with me, I said, look, here's the thing. This is the way I like things in my kitchen. And people say, well, this is our kitchen. Well, this is the only room I have. I don't have a man cave because you got all your guys' shit packed in the garage. I don't have an office because that's someone's room. So the only space I have is a kitchen. And I don't want to look for stuff. When I'm standing there in one place, I know I can reach back into that cabinet, get this, reach over and get that, reach over and get that.
Yeah.
If I have to look 20 minutes for something, that means you guys aren't eating it for a half an hour longer than it was.
No.
So
No, you're right. That can happen in a lot of parts of the house, but the kitchen, man, you got to know when you're reaching for that rubber spatula, it's fucking there,
it's
and you're not
there.
doing the 8 drawer hunt.
No, it's like, are you kidding me? I've got a flow here. You're messing with my flow.
Right.
So, but
Right.
but but once I told him that, and I told him also, I said, stack boxes with excellence. If you're going to put things in the kitchen, I want them neat and orderly. I don't want it thrown
Right.
in there. Stack the towels with excellence. Make them line up. Why? Because aesthetics are important in life. You may not think they are, but when you walk in, you see, look how bright and nice those are, all in nice patterns. See, it works. So the things that people thought were stupid, they're starting to, they're like, oh, you're right about that, Dad. And my son does those same things at his house now. So that's true. So all right, now that's long answer there to your question. Okay, well this was an easy one, but I thought you'd enjoy this. Okay, now a question for you.
Yep.
If with your safety guaranteed, you could experience something considered very dangerous, what would you want to experience most of all? If with your safety guaranteed, you could experience something considered very dangerous, what would you want to experience most of all?
Well, you could arguably say that it could almost be guaranteed, but it can't. I would probably say skydiving.
No, but they're saying you're guaranteed. No matter what happens, you're guaranteed your safety. Although I've read
Yeah.
about like two different individuals at different times that fell, parachute didn't open, and they lived. I'm thinking they're probably miserable
Yeah,
for the rest of their lives.
dude, with me, it would just be the leaping out of the plane. I mean, I would
Yeah.
probably pretty much physically have to be pried out and pushed. So I say that because the only thing obviously stopping me is the fact that I'd be fucking freaking out. If it was
That's been on my
guaranteed,
bucket
then,
list since I was 18. And I never did it. I didn't have
and I've always wanted to fly like a superhero, but I think that's a different one. I think that's where you have to like run off a tall cliff and you're just sort of gliding. Is that a sail? I don't know what they call that, but
hang gliding.
it's hang glide. Is that it?
Yeah, I have
That
friends
would
of mine that
probably
are
be equally as cool.
well, I have friends of mine that are world-class hang gliders, and when I used to live with one of them, actually I think I lived with both of them. He was with her for a little bit, but they would go off the hills in Daly City, up in the Bay Area, off the cliffs of Daly City, and
Right.
I said, "What's the best thing you can do with this?" He goes, "You go up to the Sierras, and you've got an altimeter on there, and they have these thermals that are like elevators. They're like a round elevator that, and you see." Like if you ever see him do that, you'll see him just going in a stationary place, and they keep going up. And he goes, "You just keep your eye on your altimeter. How high do you want to go? 25,000 feet, and then just bail out, and you can sail like an eagle forever. You can take a chance of something happened to your wing or something, but." He said that's the closest I've ever been to flying. That's the coolest thing ever. But I was never ballsy enough to do something like that.
It doesn't happen a lot, but it's one of those reoccurring dream situations where it does. I do have them once in a while, but they're so great. I wish I had more, but it's something where I'm sort of like walking, right? Walking down the street or whatever. And then for some reason I take a little jump and I'm able to like leap like pretty far, right? And I'm like, well, what the
Yeah.
fuck? That was cool. And so I do it again, And after like 4 or 5 times, I'm up in the air and I'm just,
Like the Incredible Hulk.
like Superman, just going through the air, swooping down between the buildings and stuff. And then you eventually wake up, but such an awesome feeling to be able to feel like you could fly like that.
Yeah, so when
Like
I
a
was
bird.
I was studying
Fly like
dreams
a
in
bird.
a psychology class, we studied our dreams for like I think it was 8 weeks or 9 weeks of our
Oh,
semester.
what do you think that means then?
Well, the thing is that that's not we didn't study as far as a Jungian or it's like a cigar is just a cigar kind of thing. It was just like we were trained to right before you go to bed, you had a journal that's open with a pen next to it, and you write, "I'm going to write my dreams when I wake up." And think that into existence, then you go to sleep. And when you wake up and you're in a waking state, it took me about a week before I could actually think of something that I was dreaming. But then when you latch onto it, you go, oh, okay, stop and think about the whole thing and sit down and write it down. And then you get to the point where you can remember your dreams every night. After about maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I could write down something every
Really?
night. Now, here's the thing is that you get to the point, and this is not bullshit either. This really happened. You can be so much into it that there was a couple of times, like one time, the school bell rang in my dream. And I told myself, you know what? I'll just wake up and come back here in a little bit. I knew I was asleep. And I went
Right.
and turned off my alarm and went right back into the same damn dream. So there's just things that have happened to me that are just like I'm in tune with those things. If I'd done that for years, they say you can control your dreams. What do you want to do in your dream? I mean, because
Yeah.
I could do stuff like you talked about, and the feeling I got, it was exhilarating, like going on a roller coaster, down a really steep
Right.
roller coaster, because I was up on a mountain and I had to get down there to my friends, and I just did one of those superhero leaps, and I'm just like sailing at a
Right.
45-degree angle down that way, and it felt like a roller coaster. You're like going, oh my
Right.
God. But right before I hit the ground, it slowed down and I just kind of stepped off and I
Right.
was on the ground. That was cool. You can
Hey,
do that.
now I know you've heard this before. If you hit the ground, you're dead, right?
I heard that, yeah. But I mean, I hit the ground, but I
But
didn't
but
crash.
I have, upon hundreds of those falling type of situation dreams. I did one time hit ground, and it's like you said, you're almost in the dream, and you know you're dreaming, but you don't know if you're dreaming, right? So
Right.
I remember going down, and as I'm getting like super close, I'm thinking, oh, it's just a dream. You don't die in your dream, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
telling myself that.
I've told myself that
And
too
then
before.
boom, I fucking hit and everything goes black. And then I start thinking to myself, am I dead or am I still dreaming? Right. And then I woke up.
Well, that's happened
Crazy
to
as
me. Well, I have come down. I only land soft land on whenever I did that kind of thing, but I've been able to wake myself up and then go back into the same dream before, which it took
right.
me months to do that. But by the time we got done with I think it was I think 18-week course, and half of it 9 weeks was that. It's like it's pretty crazy the things that you can make yourself do when you're asleep. And I thought, you know what? If I just had the time to play with nothing but this. Hey, put me in jail for
Right.
about 2 years, and I'll just sit there and work on this stuff to where I don't need to go anywhere. I'm just in the playground in my mind the whole time. It was really cool, I thought, because
I've heard that there's different, I guess, rituals or exercises you can do to be able to control and program those dreams, and even create more longevity, like to keep them going. Like a lot of times you're having a great dream, but they seem like especially, dude. Can I be honest? Especially when we get older, right? My shoulders, my hips. I'm tossing and turning all night. The first 3 hours are like my most solid. Other than that,
right.
so you start to remember more of the dreams that are happening earlier in the morning before you get up, because you're waking up so often, right? So but like you said, if you don't write it down instantly, dude, 10 seconds later it's gone. Well, that's
Yeah.
part of the exercise. You have to know where you left off.
Yeah, and the thing is that I don't care what anybody says. You can sit there and think about it enough to write it down and to control it. You can say, "Oh, look,
Really?
I like this is. Don't be scared. This is only a dream, Kelly. It can't hurt you." And you wake up and it's all gone. I've thought that before in a dream too. So I've done enough of that dream research that I believe it. It's to me, it's like very inexpensive. There was what was it? Not the Running Man, but it was I forgot what it was. Where Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to Mars, and they were trying to. They had these things that you could actually take these trips in your mind, and they would program these things in your mind, so you could experience the whole thing with all the experience and the memories. I forgot what movie it was, but it was pretty trippy, and it's like it'd be nice to be able to do that. Say I can't afford to go on vacation, but if I could just have all
Right.
the same memories, it'll be just as cool.
Okay, now how would that work? So, like, let's say you could put that on or whatever, and they could program a vacation. Obviously, a vacation would be an extended amount of time. So, would you just be literally like walking around your house doing stuff like cooking? But in your vacation, you're on the patio overlooking the ocean in a tiki hut
Well, it's more
in the
simple than that because if
Caribbean
you
or something.
if you were when you have your dreams, it's like that fast before you wake up. You don't have dreams all night long. These happen for very short periods of time. They don't happen for hours. You don't have a dream for hours. It may seem like hours, but it's a momentary thing. So that's the
Really?
thing that yeah, it doesn't happen long. So I mean when it comes to I don't know, controlling things, it's not going to be as long as you think it's going to be. I just kind of ride the wave, that's what I tell people. It's real. You can really do that. You can manipulate and understand that, all right, I can go back to that dream and I can sit there and think
Right.
about that. So that's what it was, a lot of fun. It was like with this, I forgot the name of this movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they took these trips in their head, and it wasn't, you didn't have to go anywhere. You would just wake up from this session, and the dreams are already implanted in your head. So it's like you've already
Right.
been. And so you're thinking about all these good feelings about these things you did, the women you were with, the places you were.
Did they inject them? Like was it
Yeah, it
something
was.
in the
Yeah, it was like, it looked like a big booster that shot it right into his neck. So
right?
yeah, and so it was. It's. I
Right.
forgot. I'll think of the name of the movie, but it's. They did a remake of it with I forgot his name. He's a Irish kid. I can't remember. Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell, not Colin Farrell. I forgot. Who knows? But yeah.
Well, if you think you're stumped now, wait till this question.
Okay.
This is a tough one. I wouldn't even know how and where to begin it. Have you noticed differences in how relationships are formed and maintained in urban versus a rural communities?
Oh yeah,
Have you
big
noticed
time.
a difference?
Yeah, because I've lived in both situations, and I'm from the South. When you're out in the country and you've got less people, you need to make sure that you're neighborly, and you need to make sure you walk over there with a pie or something. Go, hey, I'm here. If you ever need something, here's my phone number. If my dog gets in your yard, just shoo him back over. If my horse gets in your thing, just shoo him back over. So it's different. Like we're here in this neighborhood, it's. I can't get a good communication with my neighbors.
If my husband comes over drunk knocking on the door, you just send him back my way.
Turn him around and push him straight the other way. But so you have to with the city. I was watching this comedian Dominic Malakasclo or something like that. I forgot how you pronounce his name, but he was talking about when we were kids, and you'd be there watching TV around at 7 o'clock, and the doorbell would ring. And everybody be going, company, and everybody run to the door, and you were happy to see it. They're like,
Right.
come on in,
Right.
it's good to see you. And it's like, we got an Entenmann's that's ready for, don't anybody touch the Entenmann's because that's for the company when it comes.
Right.
And
Right.
so we had those. He says, but nowadays the doorbell rings. He's like, who the fuck got somebody over at this hour? And everybody wants to be left alone. It's just like, leave me alone kind of thing. So I've seen a
Oh
big
no,
difference.
dude, you're looking out you're looking out the blinds or whatever. Sometimes if it's a certain time of the night, I'm grabbing the Glock first before I even open the door.
I agree with you, man. It is very trippy, but it's like I just think that in the city, I just try to be nicer to the people around me. And I had one of the richest guys I ever met said, I've said I'm sorry more times on my way to success than I was guilty of anything. But you know what? It's best just to take the blame and keep on moving and don't try to assign blame. And so I think that's kind of important to remember. It's just like, I'll just go ahead and kind of go with the flow and just, I'll take, here in the city, I've had situations where I've had neighbors in my face about things, and I pretty much let it go. It's like, I don't want to sit there and tell my neighbor, it's like, look, punk, you're a 35-year-old, think you're all that. I'll knock your dick in the dirt if you think you're going to get in my face. That old age and treachery, you can't beat. I mean, it's just like, like my uncle had an expression,
Right.
he goes, I'm going to tear off your ear and stick it in your rear so you can hear me kicking your ass. And it's kind of where I come from, a little Southern colloquialism. But I think you have to
Shit.
handle things differently in the
That
city
is
than you
awesome.
and you've got that crowded effect. They call it the Baltimore rat theorem, Baltimore rat theorem. And what they did is they took a survey of the number of rats that occupied the Baltimore dump, and they
Right.
noticed that there was a certain level, and then the populations would increase. And then they would taper off down to that same level again, and they'd increase and they taper down. They would eat themselves down to a comfortable level of
Are you
population.
serious?
Yeah, that's what they would do. They
So do they
control.
go after the weak or the injured or the sick or the babies or what do they do?
That's a good question. If you
Just
go,
walk around and fucking start biting each other and eating them?
that was one of those things they call the Baltimore rat theorem, and they talked about people the same way. When a population increases so much, people start ravaging on each other because they're
Right.
too crowded and they're too worried about things, and it's like I don't have any room to breathe. My wife and I are different that way. If my wife wasn't around, I mean, I'll say this online, doesn't matter. If my wife wasn't around and I had to go back by myself, I'd move to South Georgia. I live in Valdosta. Why?
Right.
Because there's nobody down there. It's nice and quiet. I can take an airplane up to Atlanta if I want to and see my sisters and my cousins. But it's just like I
Right.
mean, that you go down the street and the directions are like, well, Go down to that last house where the dog's sleeping on the porch, the hound dog, and turn left till you get to the stump that fills with water. And then you're going to turn right. I mean, that's the kind of place I like to be, those kind of directions and such, you know.
Thank God for GPS.
Exactly. Well, you go to a gas station and you're not going there to get gas, you're going to get food, and you're standing in line for an hour and they say, hey, the ribs are all gone. There's like 2 briskets left. You got a couple sausages. And you're like, I'm not going to get fed today. But that's the kind of places I like to be. It's nice. So
you're like, I'll take all of it.
exactly. Okay, let me ask you.
Hit me.
All right, this one's kind of obvious. I'll just say that loud. If a local radio station offered to let you have your own 30-minute show each week, what type would it be? I figured he'd just say two average Joes. I thought we'd skip that one.
Doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here's one.
Twee asked me today. I said, "Hey, I got to be back by 5 or so. I have to do my podcast." And she's like, "Oh, anybody listen?" And I'm like, "Yeah. We've got to, probably I don't know, 3, 4, almost 500. We've got a few people that have viewed."
Yeah.
She goes, "Amazon pay you yet?" I said, "No." I go, "It wouldn't be Amazon. It'd be YouTube." I said, but they do track it because, like, if you went to our page or analysis of the page or whatever, it does track the views, and eventually we reach a certain level where maybe they want to talk to us or send us a message. But
yeah,
anyway,
it's like I think that what I'll start
doing.
The
bottom line is I'm already doing because I enjoy doing it. We said from the very beginning, if no one even listened, it wouldn't matter because it's still the time that you and me get to share. Which many years, right? I mean, we went a long time without talking.
Yeah,
it's just like anyone. But then I don't know, it just sort of caught back up.
Well, I got back online, and you had contacted me about Western.
Okay.
And asked me to do a video of my experiences working with you. And and Sue's like, "Do you need to think about that?" I said, "No." I said, because those images of the things I learned with Tony are so embrazened in my mind and just inflamed. I can see all these different things I learned from Tony. I mean, even something simple about having a department head meeting. And you have the 1-minute manager. Okay, that is great. This needs work. That's great. Okay, so you're going to work on that next week, and we'll talk about that. Okay, and go to each department. It's like it's the most logical way to do things. And so it's like that was one of the most valuable things I learned from you. Also, just not to be so uppity and think that you can't get back there and wash dishes if they need to be washed. You know every position of the restaurant. There's a reason, that's why at Outback they make you learn every position as manager. Why? Because our grill cook just cut his finger off. You need to go back there and cook steaks. I mean, that's happened,
right.
So.
Well, I remember it was Bobby McGee's. No, Bobby McGee's, or was it? No, it was Elephant Bar. Elephant Bar, once a week out of your schedule, you had to wear your chef coat. You had to work the kitchen the whole day. Period. You weren't even problem in the dining room. None of your fucking business. Manager will take care of it.
Manager, a key employee, something like that.
You were in the kitchen, whether it was all day. So it included and of course as a GM, you're not just there like playing the role. I mean, you're inspecting, you're looking at rotation and dates, just everything we would do every day anyway. But you're really able to take a deeper look on how they do things. And you know what? The crew, they find it funny at first because you're walking in, you got the chef coat. They know you can't do fucking dick, but you can do enough. I mean, I've had zucchini cutting contests with prep cooks and stuff, and I fucking won once. It's eventually what it is it's like, because how many restaurants do that? So the appreciation that the back of the house gets from you spending a whole day with them and sort of not only understanding, but want to understand more about how that part of the operation works, it goes a long way, and they don't say it at first, and it takes a while to sink in. But if it didn't happen, they would be like, man, where's he today? Where's he this week? Oh, we haven't seen, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's like with Outback, what was interesting about them is that one of the managers, one of them had either the proprietor or the manager had to do a line check every night. And the line check is literally 3,200 calories. Ingesting the different sauces, taste the ribs, the desserts, all the whipped cream, everything. It's like 3,200 of really crappy calories. So it's like I got to the point now, it's like, so I've been doing this 2 weeks and I'm feeling like I'm about 10 pounds heavier. It's like, so I would start going, hey, I'm just going to start people I want to be key employees. Look, okay, come with me, Micah. I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to show you how to do a line check. You're going to taste everything. Tell me how it tastes to you. So I bring along a different server every night so they got a chance to be a part of that. And so they got the chance to see what was going on in all the different stations. lessons because that's important too. All right, I want you to make, because what they did at Outback is they made their fettuccine fresh. They had the noodles already cooked, and they dropped the noodles into a pan, and they would take the sauce and ladle it on there and cook it till it boils, and it would just coat the noodles, and then they drop it off. It was so nice the way they did that, and you have to do it right or it just falls apart. So it's nice to
Right.
teach the different employees, like, this is what you're going to be serving, and this is why you want
You
it
know,
served quickly.
they were, going back to our years in the chain restaurants, they were the pinnacle, the example, the early example. Okay, many have followed, but they were the originator of consistency. Didn't matter where you went, they handled that consistency, and that's the thing that Black Angus could never fucking accomplish.
They can. I mean, because I've eaten at Outbacks in Chicago, in Ohio, in Georgia. Where else I have one? I think it was Houston when I was waiting for a flight. I had a 3-hour layover. So I've eaten at a lot of Outbacks, and it's like almost universal. Prices aren't universal, but the food
Right.
is exactly the
No.
same.
They got it down, and they were also throwing this out there, not to make this into a total restaurant show. By the way, we are sponsored by Western States Restaurant Consulting, where
Love 'em, love 'em.
our vision becomes our success. Anyway, the Outback was the trendsetter in the three table station. So not only did they provide that consistent food product and your experience in dining, the three table station now became another example, trend-setting example of service. Because, dude, if you can't handle 3 fucking tables, you suck. And they didn't hire shitty employees.
Right.
So that was a big deal. Hey, know me better, and by when I say me, I mean you, if that makes sense.
Know me better, Tony.
What animal do you see yourself in? What animal do you see a little bit of Joe Kelly in?
Well, I would have to say it's not dogs in general, but I think a dog is the best example because, I mean, you think about it, it's like, how did they go from wolves down to, all right, I'm done being hungry. I'm gonna walk down to the campfire and go, get a little bone from 'em. All of a sudden, they hang out with you. You got 2 of them. You got some puppies. All of a sudden, you've got domesticated dogs. So I honestly believe that that's where I would
Right.
feel best as, and because I watch my dog Jamie was this carefree, easygoing dog that thought. I mean, you could see his mind working, and it's like, no, 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 no. You would see him calculating something he's going to do. He would sit there and watch television. My daughter would call me from the other room. She goes, "It's freaking me out. He's been watching TV for 20 minutes. He's going back."
And the worst part is he knows the show better than I do.
My dogs understand me. It's like, and I speak to them, and they know what I'm saying. So I think a dog would be the animal that I would want to be. How about you? What
I,
what
I've
animal would you like to be?
I've seen some videos where they do this thing where the dog's sitting on the end of the bed, right, watching the TV, and then they reach over and they turn the TV off by remote. The dog starts flipping his shit. They gotta
Well,
turn it back.
I just saw one like that, and it was like,
He's like, "Hey, motherfucker, I'm in the middle of a show."
well, it was a pit bull and a chihuahua, and they were both dancing with their bodies moving, and they're watching a Shakira video, and the people turn the video off, and the chihuahua turns around and is like, "Hey,
Yeah,
hey, you're messing with our
right.
groove," It's,
Right,
it's hilarious.
No, I mean, I'd probably have to say the same. Yeah, I mean, sure, would I'd like to say something like Tiger? Well, you've said it about me before. You said I'm a man of service.
Right.
And is there a dog who's not more loyal and just wants to serve their master?
My friend from Georgia who moved here from here, she has 2 Anatoly sheepdogs, and the male Tucker is probably 150 pounds, and he's maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. He's a big beast, but he follows
It's
her.
like a small horse.
He follows her around everywhere. She said, "Watch this."
Really?
She took a video and she moved 2 steps and he'd sit and wait, and she moved 2 steps, sit and wait. He'd go through her legs and everything. So loyal, just whatever you need, I'm right there for you. And the thing is they got them for these goats. They have 2 goats, and the minute they brought the goats, they put them in these pens that they were living in this shack. The dogs would go in there and sleep right next to them. They just sit there and hang out with them. They just knew instinctively to do that. So I just thought that's the coolest thing. Yeah, dogs are loyal. And so I would think, yeah, dogs is a good ones. All right, let
Well,
me ask you one more question.
You know what dog spells backwards?
It's God. That's right. That's why I've got the dog here. The symbol is dog. So I say in the mirror it's God backwards. And God sends his angels to earth in the form of Labradors. I've always said that too. Okay.
Well, I didn't show you mine. I think I have a mole right about here.
Hey, here's an interesting question. We'll go away from from the fluffy stuff and ask you something a little bit different. It's like,
Oh wow,
suppose
hold on. Let me pull myself down a little bit. Okay.
it's not too intense, but suppose that income taxes still had to be paid, but instead of going to the government, your tax dollars would go to any cause or charity of your choice. Assuming the money would have to go to the same place each year, where would you want that cash to go? What would you say? All right, if I've got to invest in it, I'm going to invest in this every single time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to spell it out. It's an easy question.
Okay.
I would want it to go where it was always originally intended to go. So when I write that tax check every year, I don't mind the money that goes to the military. I don't mind the money that goes to parts of the federal government, like the interstates and the national parks and things like that. Things that go to us, they go to America. And I know you could argue, well, military doesn't just go to America. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, it fucking does. Because given the opportunity, many people would fuck with us as they have. So unfortunately, we can debate war, good or bad or whatever. You know as well as I do, day fucking war was always on the table.
Always. The
It's
have-nots
unavoidable.
take from the haves.
Period.
That's just the way it goes, you know?
It's unavoidable. So let's forget about that part of it. However, I do think you need that type of expenditure to secure our country, which is important, just like every other country does. So it's not like I'm making up some great theory. Everyone else does it. And then, of course, like I said, the interstates and parks, there should always be benefits for people that truly need it. And the word truly is there. Veterans, people that are down on their luck, handicapped, people that need some assistance, people that need a hand up, additional training, stuff like that. This is the common thing that, God, we're going to get off on this fucking political rant, and I don't want to. But this is the thing that people think about conservatives, and you know I'm right. Oh, they're so fucking greedy; they don't want to help anybody. Oh, there's blah blah blah, blah. Could it be farther from the truth? We want to help everybody. We just don't want to help the people that are abusing the fucking system. Why is that so goddamn hard to understand?
Right. I agree.
If you're abusing the system, then fuck you.
Right.
Period. Now, you truly need it? What can we do?
Right.
Let's get you on a program. Let's help you out. Let's get you the car you need. Let's, whatever it is. Let's cover your insurance. Fine. Pay for all their fucking insurance. I don't give a fuck. But if you're scamming, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not. I have no mercy for scammers.
So that's the thing. I think and you know what? We know we have plenty of money to accomplish all of that.
Right. Yeah. Just there's. I mean, I think that some restraint needs to be put on what we spend our money on or what we think is important, because I think that what happens is you have politicians who've made promises to people, and then they have to work with those promises they made, and they allocate money certain directions. So it screws everything up. It's like I heard a comedian say it. It's like he said, before you get married, it's called courting, and after you get married, it's called lying. And that's what politicians do. It's like, I'm going to court you right now, but I'm really lying to you because I just.
And I've said this before, probably on the show. I believe that the vast majority of politicians, they go into the position with all the best of interests. After a while, it's impossible not to get skewed. You needed some favors for your district or state or whatever, and vice versa. You go back and forth. Before you know it, you're in bed with fucking 1,000 people, right? You're just a fucking whore.
Did you see?
That's why you need term limits. You need term limits.
There's a football movie with Jamie Foxx. He's the quarterback. I'm trying to think of what's the where.
Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday. Okay, that's a good point to look at as far as that. I mean, you were talking about that very idea. Is that wait a minute? I lost my train of thought here. We were talking about.
Well, we were talking about taxes, where taxes go, and then we were talking about conservatives, wanting to help everybody as long as it's legit. We don't have a problem. That's what I was talking about.
I can't remember the point I was going to make. It's probably a lie anyway, so who cares? That's a great movie anyway.
For you, I'm going to vote for you. I like that approach. Hey, speaking of voting, you got some tough shit going on over there in fucking California. Not that we're only, Arizona has its own issues, but because I'm not real happy with the governor here. But you guys really have your hands full. I mean, you're changing over a governor, right?
Yeah.
We can't even get on that fucking round. But you're changing over a governor, and LA, and you're Long Beach, that's LA County, right? Are you are you still affected by that, Mayor? Even though it's LA County, technically it's LA City that they manage, but is there not some trickle or overflow effect to the surrounding communities?
I can't remember anything that would have been that way. And maybe some, general rules they make about things, during pandemic and
Right.
stuff that affects it.
But
But
other than that, you follow Long Beach has its own
yeah, we have a local government. Yeah.
shit going on.
Yeah, it's really
Okay.
nice too because one of the guys that I'm very good friends with, he's the commander of the Long Beach Police Department. So if something happens, I can find out from him real quickly what's going on. And not like he's divulging information, but when there have been challenges, like when there was some demonstrations going on, and he called me, and goes, "Hey, they might be moving through your neighborhood, just to let you know." And they're going from
Right.
the Hartwell Park through there, so they might go through your neighborhoods. I mean, it's which I feel bad for him because I've got an ex-city council across the street with more guns you can think about, and the guy two down from him, he's got an arsenal, and the guy across the street, they've got an arsenal. So it's like, come
Right.
on, we got a
You
bunch of
got
people.
you got your own militia going on in the
It's
hood.
exactly right. We call this Sleepy Hollow. We want you to go away and leave us alone. You don't belong here. If you just happen through here, something's wrong because you can't just happen through our street. You go there
You better
for.
go a little quicker.
That's right. Just get a move along there. So yeah, but anyway, so let me see. Was that the one more question I've got for we got time? Maybe. Well, we're coming to the end of it. If you could experience a sailing adventure or a cruise on any river, lake, or ocean in the world, what body of water would you choose for your trip?
Well, I can't tell you, this will show my geographic ignorance. I can't even tell you the exact body of water. I mean, I could probably take the wildest guess and say the Mediterranean Sea, maybe the corner of the Atlantic, but whatever surrounds Greece.
That would be the Aegean and the Mediterranean. The Aegean Sea is the one that's beautiful. It's between Greece and Anatolia or Turkey is the Aegean Sea that you can see the bottom of it. It's so beautiful and crystal clear. So yeah, I'm under the same mindset you are.
Yeah,
I mean, I was
yeah. So
thinking, well, I was thinking about, my dad did this thing where before he died, he got his sailing certificate and was able to sail, and he got a boat that would house the four of them that were going, him and another couple, with him and his wife, and they had um, a deckhand and they had a cook that went with them, and they went through the Caribbean, and they'd be cruising through, and they go, "Hey, there's an island that's about the size of a football field. It's got one tree on it. Let's park it here, and we're going to take a little boat and go out there and have a picnic. Could you prepare something for us?" So that was pretty cool to me. My dad just going, "Hey,
right.
there's nobody around. You're sitting out in the middle of the ocean, and so you can't even hardly see land, and you're having a picnic on this little piece of sand." And I thought that would be the coolest thing.
I mean, in that particular moment, it just has to show just not just the vastness of the earth, but how minute you are.
Yeah, that's my wife's
Because
asked
I
me what
think
I.
when you're in a big crowded area, like if you're walking down, like New York or something, you don't feel that separation.
Right. Well, it's like my wife wants to know what I want for my birthday, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'd really like a telescope, and I'm not really looking to look at stars, but to reacquaint myself with the moon. I used to know it pretty intimately, all the different little spots and where we landed every craft. I knew exactly where it was, and all these different things I was able to mark. It's not legal because you can't own property on anything outside of space, but I bought
Have you ever
through
seen The Man in the Moon?
the original one.
Well, I mean, not this movie, but the actual. Sometimes the moon, I guess, at a certain point,
Oh,
creates
yeah, 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 yeah. The
a
face.
facial figure.
Yeah, yeah, I have, as a matter of fact, yeah. So it's like
I
I've
don't think
been.
it's full moon, but it's pretty damn close.
Well, you can't get a good view of things if it's full. You've got to have a little bit of a shade so you
Right,
can catch the
right.
shadows out. And so
Yeah, there's
there's
no contrast.
so
Right.
I told my wife, I said, I'm yeah, I can look at Jupiter for a second. I can look at Saturn for a second. Ah, that's cool. Look at the moons around Mars, that kind of stuff. That's cool. But I could stare at the moon forever. I mean, you look at it, it's like, okay, this is where Apollo 17 landed, right in these highlands up
Right.
here, and this is the Sea of Tranquility. This is uh, uh, the Ocean of Storms where number 12 went, and they went down. They actually retrieved something. In fact, it was interesting. It was a guy that was I forgot his name, but there's Alan Bean, who was a scientist. He didn't even expect to go to the moon, but he ended up going on Apollo 12 with this one guy who worked for Northrop. And so they went up there and they went to the ocean storms to retrieve a satellite that landed on the moon. And so they were able to grab some things from the satellite, bring it back home. And what they found out, that one of the discoveries is that somebody had a cold that was working on it when they were on Earth before they sent it up. And they sent up a virus with that, like a cold virus. Well, it went dormant because of the zero temperature, and the zero atmosphere went dormant, and it didn't come alive again until they brought it back to Earth. So that was just kind of a cool thing. It's like, man, you never would think about this kind of stuff. But that to
So,
me.
did they ever determine whether the moon was made out of blue cheese or not?
I don't think it would. To me, it would have to be Munster, or some Swiss or something with all the holes.
The moon just gets fucking smaller because people are shaving a little off, right?
Well, I've been looking for a video that I bought about 15 years ago called In the Shadow of the Moon. And it's interviews with every one of the guys that went to the moon, and they'll start talking about their experience, about what they had and what they did, what they left there, what they were doing.
Right.
And that's why it cracks me up when people say, they didn't go. I'm like, you're such an idiot. I mean, it's like, yes, they did go. They've got all this proof, and they can show that, like the Japanese would love to out us on anything. They would love to show, oh, they're not so superior. And they had 2 satellites orbiting, taking pictures, and they sent back pictures of every one of our landing sites, every one. Right. And all that stuff is still sitting out there. Even with the fact that the flag that they did on Apollo 11, when they took off, it fell over. And it's still on its... Now, probably the material is probably worn to nothing, but it's still there. I mean, it hasn't gone anywhere. I think that's pretty amazing, actually.
Look those up. Well, my brother, it's time to, real quick, tell you what kind of mood I'm in. I'm going to check the NBA score real quick before we sign off. Sorry to bore you.
You're not boring me at all?
We'll see whether we're taking a win home. Hold on. It's only... Holy cow! It's only the second period, and it's a close game. 5-point game. So long time to go. I guess I got something to keep my eye on tonight. Nice.
Well, I think the thing about basketball is that you can bypass everything until the fourth quarter, and then just watch that and be happy with it.
Dude, the thing about basketball is, forget the fourth quarter. You could get down to like the last 2 minutes. This happened last week. I had to get home to start dinner, right? And there was like 2 minutes left. I'm like, oh, 2 minutes. I'll just watch it. Fucking 15 minutes later, right? I'm like, God damn it. I got to get in the car. I got to go, right? So I'm trying to watch it in the car. Man, how many timeouts you get in basketball? 100 each? I mean, what the fuck?
Well, that was when I was in my 20s and I was working at Black Angus and Torrance. I was living in Redondo, and a couple of girlfriends I had, I'd say, look, there's only 5 minutes left in the football game. And like 25 minutes later, they go, what the hell? I'm like, no, look, there's only 2 minutes left. Okay, see that clock? Well, something's wrong with that clock. I'm like, hey, what can I say? Look at the clock. It's not my fault.
And the 2 minutes is going to take longer than the first 3 minutes.
You told me I could watch the game. There's 2 minutes left, so you agreed I could watch the game today.
I don't know if that's the networks that do that, or if that's just the nature of it's got to be tied into the networks.
It has to be. They got to do their advertising, make their money.
Right.
Anywho, well, thanks for coming and spend this time with us. We're glad you did. Now go and have that talk with your son about the sex life, okay? Don't make all those lewd jokes to his teacher, Little
birds and the bees.
That's right.
And chat it up.
It's like I always tell my kids when they were younger, it's like, look, make sure you keep a condom with you. It's one of those things. Right. When you got it and don't need it, it's better than not need it and not having it. So
that's a 10 for it.
All right, love you, Tony. You have a wonderful day. Take care, bro.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon.